the war ended. Just prior to that, the Australian government had issued the challenge to make an Australian car. GMH accepted the challenge. GMH said, in response to the request of the federal government to all interested parties to undertake the manufacture of motor vehicles in Australia, General Motors Holden Limited submitted a proposal to design and manufacture an Australian car and utility to cater expressly for Australian conditions.
The project became a reality. And in 1948, Prime Minister Chipley launched Australia's own car, Holden. Thus, Australia took a major step forward in its industrial development.
Good evening. In what's seen as a fatal blow to Australia's car industry, Holden has announced its factories will close by the end of 2017. The decision from Detroit means nearly 3,000 Australian workers will lose their jobs at Holden, while Toyota is now considering whether it too will be forced to close.
Either you're here or you're not.
It's taken 7 years of negotiations and an army of trade experts working through 12,000 lines of tariffs. But tonight, Australia has signed an historic free trade agreement with Japan.
And cars from Japan on average will be about $1,500 cheaper per vehicle with the implementation of this trade deal.
As painful as it is to say, building cars in this country is just not sustainable.
He's shaken hands with South Korea on a new free trade deal.
If you like.
This is a very significant breakthrough towards a deal that started in 2009 but has been stalled for the last 18 months.
The opposition's offering cautious support for the deal.
We wish to appreciate the impact upon our budget and our economy. Not least of all, we want to ensure that Australian jobs are supported and maintained.
Unfortunately, part of this transformation means that we will cease our manufacturing operations in October of 2016. As a result, approximately 1,200 jobs in our Broadmeadows and Geelong manufacturing plants will become redundant.
I am pleased today to announce that through the hard work of Penny Wong, working with Minister Andrew Robb, that Labor now has achieved what we believe to be satisfactory legal protections which weren't previously proposed, which means that Labor can now support the speedy passage of the China-Australia Free Trade Agreement.
The end of the road for Mitsubishi and its 1,000 workers.
I've got nowhere to go.
A crippling blow for the South.
I don't know what I'm going to do. A bit shell shock. Yeah, it is. I've got to go.
An industry that is dying. Mitsubishi pulled out in 2008, Ford will leave in 2016, Holden in 2017.
And cars from Japan on average will be about $1,500 cheaper per vehicle with the implementation of this trade deal.
Just yesterday, the federal government signalled there would be no more taxpayer funding for Holden, the Treasurer challenging the company to make its intentions plain.
Either you're here or you're not.
Overnight, Detroit made that call. A heritage that produced our first all-Australian-made family cars is ending.
As painful as it is to say, building cars in this country is just not sustainable.
And cars from Japan on average will be about $1,500 cheaper.
But it was Treasurer Paul Keating, with a diving dollar, soaring deficit and chronic imbalance of trade, who on radio unexpectedly set the tone.
This government can't
get the adjustment, get manufacturing going again, and keep moderate wage outcomes and a sensible economic policy, then Australia's basically done for. We'll just end up being a third-rate economy, a banana republic.
$1,500 cheaper.
Either you're here or you're not.
GMH accepted the challenge.
Great value for money, and like all the Holdens that would have followed, it would take you anywhere and back again.
You have a real intense interest about deregulation, about red tape, and I know that in the past you've pulled me into gear.